Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phil Nash. I am a developer evangelist at Twilio. Welcome and thank you for coming along to this little introduction to Twilio and to our APIs. Hopefully they can help out as part of the Hack for Better Days. I'm really excited to be joining and helping support this hackathon because of its sort of positive outlook on how we can all together look to the future and build better things for the future. There's a lot of talk around, how things are not going to go back to the way they used to. There's a new normal, not what we're in right now, but once this is all over, nothing's going to be the same again. And I completely believe that. But one of the important, I think one of the most important parts of that is how communication is going to change over all of this time. So hopefully Twilio as a communications platform has something that may well be able to help you build the part of the communications for the future. So a quick introduction to Twilio if you've not heard of it at all before. Twilio is a communications platform that gives you as a developer the tools to build communications that connect or communicate with users via voice, video, messaging, email, fax, all sorts of things. It does it via API, it's a platform, so that means that you can build anything you kind of want out of communications inside your own applications with the help of Twilio. Now, just talking about it is not exactly my style, and since we're in a hackathon right now as well, I like to build something to show you how this works and how Twilio kind of fits into an application. So we're going to build a little thing to show off some text messaging and phone support, and then we'll have a look at some other of our platforms that we can have a little demo and play with before we finish up for questions at the end of the session. If you do have any questions at any time, do throw them into the GoToWebinar chat or question section. I am new to GoToWebinar myself, so hopefully this is working for you. But throw questions in there and we will answer them, or I will answer them at the end. So to start up, Twilio is free to kind of sign up for and create yourself an account. So no worries about that. And there's free credits that you can use to get started with things. If we're going to build something that uses phone and text messaging, then we're actually going to need a phone number for that. Twilio has phone numbers kind of available all around the world. And we can send internationally as well. So if there's not a phone number that's available in your country, then we can still you can still send and receive messages internationally if that is of use to you. For this demo, I'm going to buy a number in the country I'm in. I'm in Australia, and I'm going to look for one that has both voice and SMS capabilities. So I'm just going to search for that right now. And here we are. We can get mobile numbers in Australia that do both voice, SMS, and hilariously fax as well. It's a real API. It's a real use. I'm going to buy this number right now. That's just telling me again what it can do. And this is my individual account. And certain countries have certain regulations around phone numbers and things like that. So I have to set up, you have to set up a regulatory bundle to deal with this. I've already done that. But if you do come across that when buying phone numbers yourself, that's what that means. And so now I have this number. This is my phone number, which is pretty exciting. I can do whatever I want with it. And so what happens with phone numbers is when somebody makes a call or sends a text message to this number, then Twilio takes all the details of that phone call or that text message. It turns it into a webhook request. So that's just it's an HTTP request that that we then send to a URL that you define as part of the application. So if you can see on screen right now, this is the URL, webhook URL that will get called when a voice call comes into this number. And down below at the bottom, we have one for messaging as well. Now, I'm going to actually change that for now because I want to show you a few of the other capabilities within the Twilio console here. you see we can also create what's called a TWIML bin. So what happens when Twilio sends that webhook is that you have to respond to tell Twilio what to do with this call. Now, in case of messaging, you can get it to kind of message back, or in case of a voice call, you can have it read messages or connect to other people. But we do that using TWIML, which is XML, basically. It's a subset of XML that we've defined that makes it easy to respond. And we have things called TWIML bins that allow you to create, to return that XML without having to host anything. So I'm just going to create one, as you can see on screen right now, using the Twilio console here. So TWIML looks like it is just XML, like I said. It starts and ends with a response tag, and in between that is where we put what we want Twilio to do with the message. Now I'm making a messaging TWIML bin here right now, so I'm going to have it respond with a message. So I'm going to say, good luck with the hackathon for some free credit. And like I said, Twilio does give you a free account, but there's some restrictions on that. So if you do want to use get some free credit, you can use the promo code Hack for Better Days. And that's what that message is going to say. So if I just end the XML there, you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's a little green tick to tell me that I have valid messaging tool, which is good because I'm responding to a message. And if I create that, that is going to create my Hack for Better Days tool bin. And when a message comes in, you'll get a reply from that. So I'm gonna save that right now. And this means that this phone number is now capable of replying to that phone number. So if I pop the phone number on screen, if you're watching and you're in Australia, you can send a message to this number right now. Let me know if you can't see that on screen. I'm going to send a message to you just to make sure it's working. So, bear with me 1 second, I must actually get my phone working. You can't see me, I don't think, right now, just my screen, but I'm messing around with the phone and I don't know what I'm doing. So the number is +61, that's Australia's international code, +61 488 846 643. Send anything you want in, and you should get a response back pretty quickly saying, hey, good luck with the hackathon. It worked for me. That's pretty exciting. So I know I can kind of carry on, but I'll let, if anybody else is trying to send a message in, I can't tell if they're coming in myself. So I would just let you carry on with that for a moment. Now, hopefully this is, hopefully you can see this is really easy to kind of start with Twilio and messaging. We haven't had to write any code on our own machine yet. We've done this all within the Twilio console so far, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm going to take that number off screen right now. Oops, it's still sort of hiding around over here. But that number exists and now it responds in exactly that way. But that's not the only way we can interact with the Twilio API. We don't just get sent messages. You can also send them and do other stuff using our REST API. So I am going to, on my own computer for a moment, dive into the Twilio REST API. I'm going to use Node.js, JavaScript to do so. I'm just comfortable with that. But we have, and we also have, as you'll see here, a library for Node that makes it easy to access the REST API. We actually have libraries, official libraries for 6 different languages. We've got JavaScript, we've got Ruby, we've got Python, we've got PHP, we've got .NET, and we have Java. And if you can't find a library in your own language, you can't find an official library in your language, there are plenty of community kind of libraries out there as well that also do the trick. If you can't find a library at all, it's simply, nah, I'm not going to say simply, it is a REST API. It is HTTP. So if you can make an HTTP call in your language, then you can talk to the Twilio API. Now, to do so, I'm going to create myself a client that's going to talk to the API, and I'm going to initialize that with some, in this case, environment variables that are my account ID and my account auth token. That one, auth token. This is basically the username and password for my API access. This just authenticates the client with the API. And then I'm just gonna create a list of messages that's empty right now. Because what we can do using, that's just showing up yeah, nice, all right. What we can do is use the client to list the messages that were sent to the number that we bought earlier. Oops. Let's start that all again. We can use the client to list all of the messages that were sent to the number that we bought earlier. That in JavaScript is asynchronous. In fact, it returns a promise. So once that promise resolves, I'm just going to set the messages list I created earlier equal to this message that comes in. Yeah, cool. So that's returned a promise, but in the background that is fetching all the messages, and there should be at least one message because I know I sent one in. So if I check the length of that, oops, messages.length, that is. It's two people sent messages in. Thank you. I know I did pick a number that's in only one country, and we have an APAC region thing here, event, hackathon. So with those messages, I can do something like, take a look at them. For each message, we can console.log the message body, for example. Yeah, 2 hellos, nice. Very polite, very friendly. I know I said hello, but that's good to see. But we can also do things like we can get the numbers that sent in those messages. So we can take the messages and we can map over them, and we'll take each message and what are we going to do with that? We're going to return the message.from. That's the number that sent the message in. So message.to would be the number that we bought. Message.from is the number that sent the message in. And I can do that. And then I could use those numbers. So we can actually map over the numbers to, oops, I also write in Ruby, so sometimes I do block syntax there. We can take each number and use our API client to create a call back to them. And in that case, we create a call to the number, and we create it from the number we bought earlier. And we have to give it a URL. So I'm gonna stop writing here for the moment and head back to the Twilio console here, because we need to. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to the Twilio console in a second. We need to create a URL that will also respond to an incoming webhook. This happens because we're actually, in this case, we're creating a call out to another number, but we still don't know what to do once that call connects to that number. And so this URL has to return more TWIML that will tell Twilio what to do once the call connects. And I'm going to show you a different way of writing that now, because we have webhook here. We used TWIML when we saw that. But we can actually change it to function. A function is, so we have a sort of little serverless platform within Twilio that allows you to write functions, in this particular case using JavaScript, to respond to incoming HTTP requests. And so I'm going to write one of these right now as well. They come with a few templates. This is the voice template. It's a simple voice template in this particular case. We can add a path for this, and we get a full URL. My URL that's been created here is useful vegetable 3417. I like that. I do sometimes think of myself as a useful vegetable. what kind of day is it? So right now we've created this code here. This is just the template, and what it's doing is it's using the Twilio library that is inbuilt to Functions. Functions you can also install most NPM modules to as well. But in this case, we have a pre-installed Twilio library, which is creating a voice response using Twiml. And in this case, it's also saying hello world. So in this instance, this function will return Twiml that says hello world. In fact, let's have a look at that right now. If I copy this URL, that should show our XML returning Twiml that says hello world. If we were to connect a call up to that right now, it would use text to speech to say that out in a sort of robotic voice. But just saying stuff I think is a little boring. And so I'm going to change that. We can do other stuff here. So we can do things like dial other phone numbers, which allows you to connect people together or bring people into a conference. Well, you would do that with const dial is Twilio dial, dial.conference. Yeah. And you give the conference a room name like Hack for Better Days, for example. So we can have a conference call like that. But we can also do other stuff. We can take the Twiml and do things like record. This will allow you to take a recording from somebody, and then we could translate that recording, turn that recording from speech into text, and send that message on, or just use the recorded MP3 or WAV file. We can record things. We can gather stuff. Gather is one of the most useful things because you can use it to either take input on the phone from DTMF tones, which is using the keypad on the phone during the call, or you can gather speech information as well. And that does a live translation of speech to text, and will send you a webhook with the results of that speech to text, so you can do kind of voice-powered calls that way. But right now, I am going to use one little thing. Actually, I'm gonna include a little say, because I like to leave a message. I also want to say good luck with hacking for better days, and I can then also play something. I'm going to play a file I have on a different domain that's not useful vegetable, just fill.twil.io assets, and so with functions you can also upload assets which are static, and my one here is assets song.mp3. If we send that callback back, then that returns the XML, and we'll tell Twilio what to do with it. So save that. We've seen the function in action, and I could use that in my call here right now, but I'm not going to do that right now because I have a couple of other things I want to share with you before I finish this call off. First up, I think we've probably all found ourselves on a few more like video calls and video meetings face to face with each other through our screens in the last few weeks. I know that I've been on Zoom, I've been on Skype, I'm now on GoToWebinar here, and I've been on WebEx. The amount of video conferencing that has been going on has been more than I think any time in our lives, which is kind of amazing. Twilio has a platform that allows you to build video chat into your own applications. We call it programmable video. This allows you to build the exact video experience that you want. You see, video conferencing solutions like Zoom or like Skype, and video webinar solutions like this GoToWebinar here are great for that one single use case of either sharing one presenter to many people or having a group video chat. But if you have a particular use case, if you are building an application that has more than just a video component to it, some examples being, on this page in front of you right now, we have Doctor on Demand. That's a service in the US that allows doctors and patients to visit each other over the internet, right, with a video call. And so that not only includes a one-to-one video consultation with a doctor, but allows those appointments to be scheduled and things to be set up correctly for both doctors and patients. Another example could be virtual education, in which you may have one teacher and multiple students, and the teacher should be able to share things and control the class, and students may just be able to kind of put a hand up and be unmuted by a teacher. So Twilio Video allows you to build those kind of interactive experiences and experiences that work for the exact problem you're trying to solve. I have a quick example of one of those working for me right now. I built this application in React, and if you can see on screen right now, I've just got Twilio Video works with rooms. So you can kind of join a room, and you have to, as a developer, give access to your users to that room. And once they do, they can enter that room and share their webcam and their microphone. And this is exciting because I'm actually going to get onto screen right now. You can see me in my home office, hopefully. So I'm just joining this room right now. There I am. Hello. This is me joining a room, but I can also, in a different browser, I've got this off to my other application on the side. I'm just going to allow access to that. And so I'm joining the same room elsewhere, and there I am too. You get me from two different angles here. How's it going? So this application, like I said, was built with React, but Twilio Video actually works with JavaScript, any vanilla JavaScript, or will work in Angular, React, Vue. That doesn't matter what front-end framework you want to use for it. We also have SDKs for Twilio Video in Android and iOS, which means you can build a kind of seamless video application across all platforms, mobile, desktop, and web, using this. I'm just going to log out of my one thing there, leave the room, and then bye for now. I'm going to log out of here as well. If you want to know more about that, I did write a blog post. I will share this in Slack and with the video of this webinar afterwards. There's loads of resources on the Twilio website, but this is the one I happened to write about building that video chat with React. Another thing I was hoping to introduce you to today is Twilio Autopilot. Twilio Autopilot is kind of our AI and bot platform that is built to allow you to interact with your users via a bot and then hand off to a person if required. So Twilio Autopilot allows you to build bots, not just text ones, but across all sorts of platforms, across mobile chat, SMS, WhatsApp, voice, and even Alexa skills and Google Assistant. I have logged into my my console again here, and here in Autopilot, you can actually there are templates we've made available to start bots, which you can use to get going, or you can build one from scratch. Just while we're on this call, I'm gonna create one from a template and see it just working. Let's do FAQs. That's a nice straightforward one. This is my FAQ bot, and I'm going to create that. And so this gives me, so within Autopilot, there are a bunch of tasks that you can create. You create tasks and then fulfill those tasks. And you train the bot to recognize incoming text or speech and map that to a task. So in this particular case, we have an FAQ bot, which is to do with mobile broadband. No, not mobile broadband, sorry, just broadband. So it has tasks like replace modem or transfer plan and test speed. And you can see that if you train this one saying the task is replace modem, you can train it with a bunch of samples, things like I need to replace my modem, where can I get a replacement? My modem broke and I need a new one. And when the incoming text matches that example, it will return the task. These tasks are defined within Autopilot here using JSON. And in this case, if you trigger the this task, it will say things like, it can cost between $200 to $300 to replace the lost or broken modem. You can also use this to redirect people off to your own application and return dynamic responses as well. But let's, my model's up to date. I can go to the simulator here. So this will connect to the bot that we just built out of our template. And hello, yep, I'm ready to type. Yes, don't need to save things. So if I say if I just say hello, we should get a kind of hello response task here. We've triggered the greeting task you can see on the right-hand side. I can ask some questions about your internet plan. So I'd like to change plan and see if the bot can help with that. You can transfer your plan for free. Hey, there we go. Can I help with anything else? Yes, I need a new modem too. And let's see, we've triggered the replace modem task and it's answered as we saw earlier in the training there. That's pretty cool. I can also tell it some garbage. I'm taking part in a hackathon. The bot probably doesn't know what to do with that. It should probably, it's triggered the replace modem task again. How about that? I would like to fly to the UK. This is things the bot should not be understanding. No, it's just repeating itself now. So what we can actually do is, brilliantly, we can go look at all those things. It said, I would like to fly to the modem, to the UK, but it triggered the replace modem task. And we can turn this into a sample and retrain it to be like, this was not correct. And we should have we should go back to the fallback on this one because flying to the UK has nothing to do with changing a modem. So we can add that. And taking part in a hackathon should also be part of our fallback task. And we're going to add that. And everything else was correct. So now the model has actually had some things added. You need to rebuild it. And once we've done that, which shouldn't take a few minutes, even though it says it may take a few minutes right now. Now it's up to date. We can go back to our simulator, type a message such as, I would like to fly to the UK. Let's try that again. And hopefully that's going to trigger a fallback. Yeah, and I can't help with that, sorry. Much better. So that is, that's what autopilot looks like. It's pretty useful. And what is exciting about it is once you've trained this one bot, you can use that on the phone. You can use it in text messaging, you can use it in chat, but also with bots like Alexa and Google Assistant, and in WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Slack, connected up to all of those things. And you have an omni-channel intelligent bot that can answer queries, trigger actions, trigger things on your own server, and ultimately also hand off to a human, to a real person if you need them to. Cool. So those are a couple of things I think that might be useful for you as part of this hackathon. Video chat, particularly for getting people face-to-face and collaborating over stuff. Autopilot, if you want to be able to answer questions without getting a human involved until it's absolutely necessary, or trigger other actions. So I just wanted to finish this by going back to our Twilio function that we wrote earlier, which I make sure to save. I'm going to copy this URL and head on to the clipboard over here. If I've add that in correctly, I was creating calls to the numbers that sent in messages earlier. And so if you did send in a message earlier, make sure you have your phone available. Mine's on my desk in front of me, unlocked and ready to be answered. And as I hit this, it is going to create a phone. It's going to create 2 phone calls to those 2 numbers. And once there's my phone ringing in the background. And once it connects, it's going to say good luck with the hackathon. And then play that song. So that's kind of how easy it is to get started with various, with Twilio sort of messaging and voice. Of course, you don't need to use Twilio or Twilio Functions. You can respond to webhooks with your own web frameworks inside of whatever language that you want to use, as long as you can return XML to an incoming HTTP request, then you can talk back to Twilio. So that is all I wanted to show you as part of this webinar today. Like I said, Twilio has APIs for text messaging, for voice calls, for email. So that is actually Twilio SendGrid. If you are not aware of that, that is kind of our email platform. We have also then chat, video, and data syncing APIs, and finally more intelligent things like autopilot to build your own bots. So that's kind of the content I had for you. I would love to answer any questions that you have. Drop them into GoToWebinar, or find me on the Slack. I'll be around all of the time to help out with any of these things that you want to. Come find me on the Slack as part of the hackathon, and let me know. And that's all I wanted to share. So thank you very much. I think I can hear Sam in the background. I can hear somebody in the background. If there are any questions, drop them in. I can't see anything right now. Perhaps you're still answering the phone to my call earlier. But other than that, yeah, Twilio is for communications, and I think that is some of the most important things we can do as part of connecting people under these situations and in the future.
Thank you very much, Phil. Yeah, I can't see any sort of question.
That's fine. I mean, I will share a whole bunch of resources. So this has been recorded, right? We're going to share the video out for this.
Yes, it's recorded.
Cool. I will share a bunch of links and resources that will help get people started to go along with that as well, including a bunch of stuff around creating video applications, as well as those ideas for getting people connected over voice or messaging.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much, Phil. Yeah, this video is recorded and I will share it on the Slack channel. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with Phil. He's one of the mentors on the Slack channel. So with that, I'd like to join me to thank Phil for this very interesting presentation. And yeah, good luck with your projects. Hopefully, Twilio will be one of the technologies that is used in your solution. All right, thank you, Phil. Thank you, everybody who attended, and we'll be in touch on Slack.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.